Hello everyone, today I'm going to be checking out O2 Valley, which is a Taiwanese bento shop in Cupertino. What I think is really interesting about O2 Valley is they have a lot of different types of bentos. Some of them I've never even heard of before, and they also sell a ton of different teas there. They sell milk tea and fruit tea and just a whole bunch of assorted different things. Let's go, I'm really looking forward to checking them out. I'm back from O2 Valley now, and the food looks incredible. I got some tea to try later, but for now we have these 4 bento boxes to try, and I love the portions. They're absolutely gigantic. I got the fried chicken cutlet, basil popcorn chicken, fried pork chop, and Taiwanese sausage. I'm going to be starting off with the fried chicken cutlet bento, and all the bentos come with a side of steamed broccoli, as well as a marinated egg, and some rice which is topped with some sort of meaty sauce that looks great, and another side that looks quite interesting, so it looks like some scrambled eggs and some shrimp and corn. I'm going to be starting off with this chicken cutlet, and it still looks really crispy. That is an incredible chicken cutlet. The chicken itself is really nice. It's super juicy, a really nice fatty cut of chicken as well, and it tastes a little bit spicy. It tastes like there's a little bit of spicy powder on there, and I love the batter. It's so light and airy and crunchy, and as you bite into it, you almost have little bubbles of bits of batter to get really nice and crunchy. It is so nice. Let's see how their broccoli is. It smells like there's a little bit of garlic on there. That is very simple broccoli. It's just steamed broccoli with a little bit of garlic, and it's perfectly cooked. I really love the nice crunch. Now let's try out these eggs and corn. I'm kind of curious to see how this one is. This is really interesting. It tastes like extremely buttery scrambled eggs with a little bit of corn. This is definitely something I would kind of eat at breakfast time, but still really good with this bento. Now let's try out this rice, which I'm really looking forward to. It looks like it's topped with a little bit of meat. The meat has a really nice flavor. It's nice and tender. I love the fattiness of the pork belly, and it coats all of the rice. Definitely can taste that there's some drippings on there, and the taste of the meat is almost oniony, and it's quite sweet, so I actually think there might be a few shallots in there as well. Let's see how this marinated egg is. It's actually quite dark, so I think it might be pretty flavorful. The egg is really quite nice. It's very light in flavor. I just taste a little bit of soy sauce and a little bit of anise, which adds a really nice fragrance. Now for the pork chop, and this looks even crunchier than a fried chicken, and it's nice and thick as well. So I definitely feel like you're getting your money's worth because there's so much meat in here. This pork chop really reminds me a lot of the chicken cutlet. The pork itself is a bit on the leaner side, and it's really nice and tender and juicy. So I really appreciate that because again, it tastes brined, so that really prevents any dryness just because it's not as fatty. And I love the outside. It's a little bit thinner than a chicken cutlet, so it's not quite as rich. And the seasoning tastes quite interesting. It's a little bit different than the chicken. It's not quite as spicy, but there's quite a bit of black pepper, which I think is really interesting. And then there's some other spice, which I'm tasting, but I can't really describe what it is because I don't really know what it is. It's just a good spice flavor. It also comes with a little bit of dipping sauce. I'm assuming this is for the pork chop, so let's give it a taste. And that is pure black vinegar. It's not my favorite because I'm not a big vinegar person, but I definitely get why it's paired with this. It definitely does have a sort of earthiness compared to white vinegar, and it definitely has a nice tartness to contrast with the greasiness, but I'm just not a big vinegar person. Now for the basil popcorn chicken, and I know this is really popular at a lot of Taiwanese fried chicken shops, and it smells great to me. I'm just smelling a really strong and intense basil scent, and the basil is actually a little bit crispy because it looks like it's been deep fried. The basil chicken's pretty good. It's not quite as tasty as the other 2 bentos I've had. It's a little bit more milder in flavor, and it's not quite as salty, but the seasoning tastes quite similar to the pork cutlet, and I really do love the basil because it's slightly crispy because it's been fried, and it really does add a nice strength to the dish. The last bento to try is their Taiwanese sausage bento, and I'm looking forward to this one. I do love Chinese sausage, and this looks quite similar to that. And also, there's a ton of garlic mixed in with this sausage, so I have a feeling it's definitely going to take on the flavor. This is really interesting. It's unlike any other Chinese sort of sausage I've had before. It tastes like the preserved Chinese sausage, also known as lopchong, combined with Chinese chashu, which is Chinese barbecue pork. So it's not quite as salty as the Chinese lopchong, but it's really nice and fatty still. And I love the snappy exterior of the skin as well. As I mentioned earlier, O2 Valley also sells boba drinks, so I got 3 of them. I'm going to start off with their jasmine milk tea, and like I said in my last video at Boba Guys, I generally like to judge a boba shop, or in this case, I guess a bento specializing shop, by their jasmine tea. I'd actually say this is a fairly decent jasmine tea. The only thing that bothers me is the tea itself, just because it's a little bit bitter. It tastes like it's overbrewed, but in terms of tea flavor, it's not really lacking. It's very intense. Also, it's really milky and creamy, and the boba texture is perfect. It is so soft and chewy, that boba. Now for the Rose Earl Grey milk tea, and I'm really excited about this one, because in most boba shops, I know they don't offer rose milk tea flavor, let alone Earl Grey, so I think this should be pretty interesting. Whoa, the rose flavor on this drink is so intense. It literally tastes like you're drinking rose, and I think that flavor pairs really nicely with the Earl Grey, which itself is also really fragrant. If you're a rose lover, you really need to try this. This is actually a lot better than the jasmine milk tea. Finally, I'm going to be trying their lemon tea with ayu jelly. The lemon tea with ayu jelly is really refreshing. It literally just tastes like an ice cold glass of lemonade with a little bit of ayu jelly for texture. It almost has like the texture of jello, and it's a really nice complement in the drink. In general, I was really impressed with O2 Valley. I love their bento boxes. Probably my favorite one was the chicken cutlet bento. I feel like it was nice and crispy, and I loved the mild spiciness that was on the chicken, and it was so juicy and fatty and tender. Just pure goodness. Their milk tea was also pretty good as well. I actually loved the Rose Earl Grey milk tea just because it was so fragrant. And like I said, I often don't find a rose milk tea drink. If you all love Taiwanese food, especially Taiwanese fried chicken, you should definitely check out O2 Valley. I think you're really going to like their selection of bento boxes, and I'm definitely going to be back again to try some of their other bento boxes out. And yeah, I really hope you all enjoyed the video. Make sure if you did to give it a like, and also make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.